5 Buddhist truths that free you from attachment and bring lasting peace in every corner of human life. There is one thread that quietly weaves through our joys and sorrows, our triumphs and disappointments. Attachment. Cling to people we love, to possessions we have earned, to dreams we have built, and even to the very image of who we believe ourselves to be. And yet, if we are honest, we also know that the tighter we hold, the more fragile our peace becomes. The fear of losing what we cling to keeps us restless. The pain of unmet expectations haunts us. The endless chase for certainty in an uncertain world drains us. The Buddha, more than 2,500 years ago, saw this truth with remarkable clarity. He did not condemn our natural desires or our longing for connection, but he showed us how attachment, when unchecked, becomes the root of suffering. It binds the heart with invisible chains, leaving us trapped in cycles of craving, fear, and disappointment. True freedom, the Buddha taught, comes not from holding on, but from learning how to let go. But letting go does not mean apathy. It does not mean turning away from love, rejecting the world, or suppressing our emotions. Letting go in the Buddhist sense is an opening, a release, a gentle loosening of the grip that keeps us bound. It is learning to see life as it truly is, impermanent, ever-changing, and beyond our control. To live without clinging is to live with freedom, compassion, and a peace that cannot be taken away. In this journey together, we will explore 5 profound Buddhist truths that illuminate the path of detachment and inner liberation. These truths are not abstract philosophies meant only for monks and scholars. They are living insights, practical and deeply human, that can guide us through the storms of modern life. Think for a moment about the subtle attachments in your own life. Perhaps you cling to the idea of success, always pushing yourself harder, believing peace lies just one achievement away. Or maybe it is in relationships, holding on to someone out of fear of loneliness, even when the connection no longer nurtures your spirit. Some attachments are obvious, like the pursuit of wealth or recognition. Others are hidden, the attachment to being right, to controlling outcomes, or to preserving a certain identity. Each of these attachments shapes how we suffer, and each can also be transformed through awareness. The Buddhist path does not ask us to erase desire or live in cold detachment. Instead, it invites us to see with new eyes. Desire may arise, but it need not dominate us. Loss may come, but it need not break us. Change may sweep through our lives, but it need not destroy our peace. When we understand the nature of attachment, we begin to discover that what we sought through clinging, security, happiness, love was never truly found in holding on. It is found in letting go. And so, as we begin this exploration of 5 Buddhist truths, let us step gently but firmly into this teaching. Let us reflect not only on the words of the Buddha, but also on our own lives. For these truths come alive only when we see them in the mirror of our own experience. The first truth reminds us that everything is impermanent. Nothing lasts forever, neither pain nor joy, neither success nor failure, neither birth nor death. To resist impermanence is to fight against the very fabric of life. But to accept it is to find freedom in the flow of change. The second truth reveals that attachment is the seed of suffering. It is not life itself that causes pain, but our insistence that life must remain exactly as we wish it to be. By loosening this demand, we begin to taste a peace that no external circumstance can shake. The remaining truths will take us even deeper toward the liberating power of release, the wisdom of mindfulness, and the boundless compassion that grows from a free heart. Together, they form a path not away from life, but into it, a way of living with clarity, courage, and peace. So let us walk this path. Let us uncover the 5 Buddhist truths that can free us from attachment and open the door to lasting peace. The first 3 truths, the Buddha's teachings, often begin with a simple observation. Life is in constant motion. Nothing in this world remains unchanged, and yet our hearts long for stability. We build homes and careers, we nurture relationships, we craft dreams for the future, all in the hope of creating permanence. And yet, when the waves of change arrive, as they inevitably do, we feel betrayed, as though life has broken a promise it never made. This is the first truth of detachment. Everything is impermanent. Truth 1. Everything is impermanent. Impermanence is not a threat. It is the very rhythm of existence. Seasons shift, flowers bloom and fade. Children grow old, bodies weaken, and even mountains slowly erode. When we resist impermanence, we suffer. Think of the heartbreak of watching a loved one age, or the fear of losing a treasured possession. These pains are not caused by change itself, but by our desperate wish that things should stay as they are. The Buddha teaches us to embrace impermanence as freedom. If everything is constantly changing, then our sorrows too are not eternal. No storm lasts forever, no wound remains unhealed, no night remains unbroken by dawn. By understanding impermanence, we learn to hold life gently, with gratitude rather than grasping. We can appreciate each moment precisely because we know it will not last. When we stop clinging to permanence, we discover peace in the flow of change. We begin to dance with life rather than fight against it. This insight prepares the ground for the second truth. Truth 2. Attachment is the root of suffering. If impermanence is the law of life, then attachment is our refusal to accept that law. Attachment is not the same as love. Love is generous, fluid, and expansive. Attachment, however, is possessive, fearful, and binding. It is the voice that whispers, "I cannot be happy without this person, this success, this identity." Consider a person who clings to wealth. Every fluctuation in the market brings anxiety, every loss feels unbearable, and every gain only fuels the hunger for more. Or imagine someone attached to an image of themselves as strong and successful. When failure arrives, as it eventually must, their sense of worth crumbles. This is the pain of attachment tides, our happiness to fragile conditions that cannot endure. The Buddha reminds us, suffering is not created by life's changes, but by our clinging to what must inevitably change. If we can loosen the grip, if we can hold lightly instead of tightly, then we can experience joy without fear of loss and love without the chains of possession. Detachment does not mean coldness or indifference. It means relating to life with openness. You can still care deeply, love fully, and work passionately. But when you do so without attachment, you no longer demand that outcomes conform to your desires. You are free to engage with life wholeheartedly, knowing that its beauty lies precisely in its fleeting nature. Truth 3. Letting go is true freedom. Letting go is perhaps the most misunderstood of Buddhist teachings. Many people think it means giving up on life, rejecting relationships, or becoming emotionless. But in truth, letting go is not about losing it, it's about gaining. When we release our attachments, we gain space, clarity, and freedom. Imagine holding a burning coal tightly in your hand. The longer you cling, the more you suffer. Letting go of the coal does not mean losing warmth forever. It means freeing yourself from unnecessary pain. In the same way, letting go of attachments does not strip life of meaning. Instead, it allows us to discover deeper meaning, one not dependent on constant grasping. Freedom arises the moment we stop tying our happiness to external conditions. When success comes, we enjoy it. When it fades, we remain at peace. When love blossoms, we nurture it. When it changes, we do not collapse in despair. This freedom is not indifference, it is strength. It is the ability to remain centered, no matter how the winds of life blow. Letting go is also the key to compassion. When we stop clinging to our own desires, we create space to genuinely care for others. Attachment often disguises itself as love, but true love is found in freedom. When you love without clinging, you do not try to control or possess. Simply wish for the other's happiness even if it does not align with your own expectations. This is the freedom the Buddha spoke of, a freedom not from life, but within it. A freedom that allows us to experience joy without fear, sorrow without despair, and love without chains. The first three truths form the foundation of detachment. Impermanence teaches us that nothing lasts forever. Attachment reveals itself as the true source of suffering. And letting go shows us that freedom lies not in controlling life, but in releasing our grip upon it. With these truths, we begin to step onto the path of peace. But the journey does not end here. To live with lasting freedom, we must cultivate the wisdom to see clearly and the compassion to love deeply. That is where the next two truths will guide us. The final two truths as we move deeper into the path of freedom. The final two truths guide us toward the heart of Buddhist wisdom. They remind us that detachment is not an escape from life, but a way of engaging with it, fully clear it, compassionate, and free. If the first three truths show us the nature of impermanence, suffering, and letting go, the next to teach us how to live with presence and love. Truth 4. Mindfulness reveals reality. As it is to practice detachment, we must first learn to see clearly. Most of the time, our minds are clouded by stories, judgments, and expectations. We look at people not as they are, but as we wish them to be. We experience events not as they unfold, but through the filter of our fears and desires. This distortion feeds attachment, binds us to illusions rather than allowing us to rest in reality. Mindfulness, or sati in the Buddhist tradition, is the practice of direct awareness. It is the gentle art of paying attention to the present moment without judgment. When we sit quietly and notice the breath, or when we observe a thought rising and fading like a cloud, we begin to see reality in its true form, impermanent, flowing, and free of inherent self. Through mindfulness, we learn that every attachment is rooted in misunderstanding. We cling to things as if they are solid, permanent, and capable of giving us lasting happiness. But when we look closely, we see they are fleeting, fragile, and unable to satisfy us fully. This realization is not depressing, it is liberating. By seeing clearly, we loosen the grip of craving. Imagine holding a glass of water in your hand. If you grip it too tightly, the water spills and the glass may break. But if you hold it gently, it rests easily in your palm. Mindfulness teaches us to hold life in this way, with gentleness, awareness, and care. We participate fully in the moment, but we do not crush it with clinging. Mindfulness also reveals that our suffering is often amplified by resistance. A painful emotion arises, and instead of allowing it to pass, we fight it, judge it, or try to push it away. This resistance deepens our pain. When we are mindful, we allow the emotion to simply be. We recognize anger as anger, sadness as sadness, fear as fear. By naming and observing without judgment, the emotion softens, loses its power, and eventually dissolves. In this way, mindfulness becomes the bridge to detachment. We are not withdrawing from life, but meeting it with clarity. We are not running away from our feelings, but holding them with compassion until they pass. To see reality as it is, to see change, suffering, and release with open eyes is to walk directly into freedom. Truth 5. Compassion and wisdom bring lasting peace. The final truth completes the circle. Detachment is not only about freeing ourselves from suffering, it is about cultivating a heart that radiates peace to others. The Buddha taught that wisdom, prajna, and compassion, karuna, are like the two wings of a bird. Without one, we cannot fly. Wisdom gives us insight into impermanence, emptiness, and the illusory nature of self. Compassion allows us to meet the world with kindness, love, and understanding. When wisdom sees that all beings are interconnected, compassion naturally arises. And when compassion acts to relieve suffering, wisdom deepens. Together, they form the highest expression of freedom. Why is compassion so essential to detachment? Because without compassion, detachment can become cold or self-centered. It is possible to mistake detachment for indifference, for a numbness that walls us off from others. But true detachment does the opposite. It opens the heart. When we are no longer clinging to our own desires, we have space to genuinely care for the well-being of others. Compassion transforms attachment into love. Attachment says, "I love you because you make me happy." Compassion says, "I love you because I see your humanity, your suffering, and your beauty, regardless of what you give me." This is a love that does not bind but liberates. It allows relationships to flourish in freedom, free of control and fear. Wisdom, on the other hand, reminds us that the self we cling to is also impermanent. The ego is a collection of thoughts, memories, and roles, constantly shifting and never fixed. When we stop attaching to this false solidity, we discover a deeper identity, one not limited by name, status, or appearance, but rooted in awareness itself. From this awareness flows compassion naturally, for we see that the suffering of others is not separate from our own. Imagine a candle lighting another candle. The flame does not diminish, it only spreads more light. In the same way, compassion shared from a free heart does not weaken us, it strengthens us. Wisdom ensures that this compassion is not blind or naive, but guided by clarity and understanding. With wisdom and compassion, detachment blossoms into lasting peace. This peace is not dependent on circumstances, relationships, or achievements. It is not shaken by loss, failure, or disappointment. It is the peace of a heart that sees clearly, loves deeply, and clings to nothing. Bringing the 5 truths together, when we reflect on these 5 truths, we see a complete path. Impermanence teaches us to accept change. Attachment shows us the root of suffering. Letting go offers us freedom. Mindfulness gives us clarity. Compassion, joined with wisdom, brings us peace. This is not a philosophy to admire from afar. It is a practice to be lived. Every day offers us countless chances to apply these truths when we let go of a grudge, when we accept a change. We cannot control when we breathe mindfully through anxiety, or when we respond to someone's pain with kindness instead of judgment. Each moment of practice is a step toward freedom. In the end, detachment is not about losing life, it is about gaining it fully. It is about stepping out of the prison of clinging and into the vast openness of the present moment. It is about transforming love from a chain into a gift, and pain from a curse into a teacher. It is about living with a heart unburdened, a mind clear, and a spirit at peace. The Buddha's invitation is timeless. Let go, see clearly, love freely. In doing so, we find a peace that no loss can destroy, no change can shake, and no time can fade. The path toward lasting peace as we come to the end of this reflection. Let us pause and look back at the truths we have walked through together. Each one is simple in words, yet profound in its power to transform the heart. Impermanence reminds us that change is not our enemy, but the very nature of life. Attachment reveals itself as the hidden root of our suffering. Letting go shows us that true freedom is found not in holding tighter, but in releasing our grip. Mindfulness opens our eyes to reality as it is, without distortion. And compassion, joined with wisdom, gives us the strength to love without chains and to live with peace that endures. Taken together, these 5 truths are not a philosophy to admire from a distance. They are a living path. A path we walk step by step, moment by moment, in the middle of our ordinary lives. Buddhism does not ask us to escape from the world or abandon our humanity. Instead, it calls us to live more deeply within it, but with a heart unburdened by clinging and a mind free from illusions. Ask yourself what attachments weigh most heavily on you right now. Is it the fear of losing someone you love? The constant craving for recognition or success? The deep need for things to unfold exactly as you imagine? Notice how these attachments create tension in the body, anxiety in the mind, and restlessness in the spirit. Now imagine, even for a moment, what it would feel like to loosen that grip, to breathe more freely, to allow life to flow as it will, and to discover peace, not in controlling it, but in moving with its rhythm. This is the gift of detachment, not a loss, but a liberation. It does not take away love, but allows love to flourish in its purest form. It does not erase desire, but frees us from being enslaved by it. It does not remove pain, but transforms it into a teacher that deepens our wisdom and compassion. The journey, of course, is not easy. The habits of clinging run deep. We have spent years, even lifetimes, learning to grasp, to demand, to resist. But the Buddha assures us, even the smallest step toward letting go is a step toward freedom. Every mindful breath, every act of compassion, every moment of release plants a seed of peace within us. With patience and persistence, these seeds grow into a life lived with clarity, strength, and joy. The beauty of this path is that it belongs to no one tradition or culture. Though born in the teachings of the Buddha, the truths of impermanence, detachment, mindfulness, and compassion speak to the universal human heart. Whether you are a monk in a monastery or a parent in a busy household, whether you live in the quiet of the mountains or the noise of the city, these truths remain the same. They are invitations, always waiting, always open, to guide us home to ourselves. And so, as you carry these reflections into your own life, remember, the work of freedom begins here and now. Each time you pause to breathe mindfully, you step into awareness. Each time you soften your grip on an expectation, you step into letting go. Each time you respond to another with kindness instead of judgment, you step into compassion. In these small moments, peace is not a distant dream. It is already alive within you. Let us leave with this vision. A life lived without clinging. A life where love is not possession, where success is not obsession, where failure is not devastation, and where change is not fear. A life where peace is not dependent on circumstances, but flows naturally from the heart. This is the freedom the Buddha pointed to. This is the peace that remains when everything else fades. May we each have the courage to walk this path. May we learn to see clearly, to let go gracefully, to love fully, and to live freely. And in doing so, may we discover the lasting peace that has always been waiting quietly within us.